It's the second session of Exodus. The central theme from chapter 13 to 24 is guidance. In the previous session, we examined how God saw, heard, knew, and delivered your people in the midst of distress. Through the events of Moses and the Passover, we learned about the liberation from Egyptian slavery, symbolizing a transformation from a life bound by sin to a free life as children of God. The events after leaving Egypt depict a change in status from a life resembling slavery to a life of freedom. The key is the voluntary faith and will of the people to cross the Red Sea. This sea, among its many names, is known as the Red Sea. God parted it, opening the way to salvation. However, crossing it requires the voluntary faith and determination of the people. The Red Sea symbolizes the price of Jesus' blood for us, and walking through it signifies personally accepting the path of salvation completed by His blood. The past life, not belonging to God, is symbolically drowned in the Red Sea, signifying a transformation into a new life. However, salvation does not mean everything is complete automatically. Rather, the people, including us, must live a life responding to that salvation. Therefore, the content from chapters 13 to 24. The passage we are focusing on today explores guidance, the people's response, and the path they must walk. Even though God led the people, things don't always go smoothly. Entering the wilderness, the people face bitter water in Marah. This difficult experience is meant to train and teach how to live in the wilderness. God miraculously turns the undrinkable bitter water into sweet water. As they enter the Sinai wilderness, the people begin to complain about the lack of food. God provides manna and meat. Though there are instances of the people sinning against God in the wilderness, none die of starvation. The promise is that God will provide both physical and spiritual sustenance for our lives. In the Rephidim wilderness, where there is no water, the people go to the brink of rebellion. Despite experiencing numerous miracles and grace, the wilderness reveals our sinful nature when faced with difficulties. God shows that the source of life's water comes from Him. A lesson taught in the Rephidim wilderness. In the wilderness, they engage in war with Amalek, highlighting that the battle against sin is won by being in God. In the Sinai wilderness, the role of faith, community, and cooperation is emphasized in surviving the wilderness life. The wilderness offers nothing. It's a time when one can only live with God's help, teaching that living in the wilderness means relying on God's strength, not one's own. Chapters 15 to 18 discuss life in the wilderness. Afterward, God leads them to Mount Sinai, revealing His thoughts, values, standards, and principles to the people. He demands holiness, presence of vision, and through the 10 Commandments and the law, offers a way to live as citizens of God's kingdom. Living according to God's laws will make them the people of the Lord. He asks if they are willing to live by God's law and be His people, and the people respond with a resounding yes. From chapters 13 to 24, God leads, teaches how to live. The guided path and presence a covenant. Through faith, we hope to live a life responding entirely to the grace of salvation. As Christians living today, what covenant have we made with God? In the next session, we will explore chapters 25 to 40, concluding Exodus 3.